Hello and welcome, I'm Raziel, and today I want to talk about the politics in Warhammer 40k. Oh yes, we know about the High Lords of Terror, we know about the Inquisition, we know about all the different groups and factions and sub-factions and sub-sub-factions and sub-sub-sub-factions. But we don't actually know much. We don't know how the electorals are run. We know governors are put into place. Some are democratically run, some planets are. They run a democracy to get their governor in power. Some are tyrannies, some are fascist, some are communist. Yes, all these things do actually come into the Imperium. It's kind of weird, and it's a nice hodgepodge of different political standings and leanings, and it's really interesting, but we never really get down to the old meat and potatoes of the old thing and how it actually affects, the universe at large. This actually comes from, I've just finished reading the War of the Beast series again, which is very good for the politics, and when something is good for the politics, it kind of highlights how it's missing from everything else. When you see a shiny stone or a diamond in a rock, you just realise how much less of the rock is diamond, sort of thing. And I don't think this is something that should go under the radar. I think it's something that should really be highlighted a lot more. We have books and good authors. If you want to read, if you're into stuff like this, like I am, you've got John Grisham and Tom Clancy. Tom Clancy, if you're into Warhammer 40k, is great for the politics and the war stuff. He really does go into deep depth about how the politics actually affects the people on the field. And that's the sort of thing I would like to see. I would like to see that actually happen a lot more. A good example of this is, have you ever read the book or seen the film Sum of All Fears? This is a fantastic film. It's got Ben Affleck and Morgan Freeman, and it's really good because it shows how bureaucracy ended up kind of preventing a bomb disarmament, causing a nuclear weapon going off. And to me, that's absolutely a great read because it just shows you how much of a hindrance bureaucracy can be. And yes, that's the thing we know about 40k and their politics. It tends to be more of a hindrance than a help. They're always arguing amongst themselves. But when we get to things like the Inquisition or actual paper, I know it sounds boring, it kind of does, but the paperwork and the discussions about the war and how to go about it and what to do, to me that's interesting because it would bring up a lot of points about the enemy, how they feel about the enemy, and it's not just traitor's bad, but the financial outcome, the cost obviously of it as well, whether the planets risk losing or gaining, or or whether or not an exterminatus is worth it, sort of thing. Having this discussion back and forth on how it would actually affect the Imperium as a whole on this one war, like a segmentum war. How would it affect the Imperium if they lost? How would it affect the Imperium if they won? Having them sort of show how they have to plan out and fought for a war, and not just say, hey, Space Marines, go that way, because there is an inherent cost to it. And this is something we don't really see. We see the war, we see the fight, but we never see the outcome. I wouldn't say never. Again, if we look at the Inquisition books, one of the good examples of this is in the Magos book, a short story by Dan Abner. It was one of those where a man was working for someone and he noticed chaos numbers keep appearing in the books because he was a financier, and he reported it to the Inquisition. And in spoiler alert, I suppose, at the end of the book story, I should say, that the building got shut down, the business got closed down, and a lot of people ended up without jobs. And we see that real human side of what this war, ongoing war with chaos, is having an effect on the average day-to-day person. That when someone could be a business runner, a big business owner, employs like hundreds of people, gets caught with chaos. We have hundreds of people now without work, and they have to go and find work. And unemployment's pretty high in 40k, in Imperium, and so it's going to be very difficult for that man to find a job again. And we can see what happens. So we could see what happens afterwards. Does he turn to crime? Does he get a job? And it would be an interesting story. I mean, well, this is about politics. Another bit about it is the day-to-day life of the Imperium. We see it sometimes, don't get me wrong, but it's usually at the start of a book when someone's been conscripted into a war. So it's basically an world building part, like this is the planet he's on, this is that industry, this is what they do, and that's when it pretty ends. Even Necromunda doesn't do this well, which would be the best books to do it in my opinion. We see the gang wars, we see all that, and we see some insights to how Necromunda is run, but nothing to really the day-to-day basis of the person and the average citizen of the Imperium. Something I think is greatly missing, because they would tell fantastic stories. It would be great to see this sort of thing actually play out. You know, the average Joe, you know, me or you in the Imperium, and what we would see and what we would do and how it would affect our lives. And though the Grimdark would mean that they're pretty much used to it at this point, but then they can't be happy or content. This is why you get a lot of revolutions in 40k. It's actually a surprising amount of revolutions, and not just Chaos or Gene Stealer ones. We get revolutions from people who are not affiliated with either. They might end up affiliated with it by the end of a revolution, but not actually that affiliated at the start. A good story or good part of the lore for this, believe it or not, is the First War of Armageddon. Now, those who don't know or are unaware, how it actually started was with bread riots. It was literally riots by people who couldn't eat and ended up rioting against their oppressors. This led to a lot of bloodshed by the RBTs, killing, you know, many people. And if you know anything about Chaos, one particular god loves that sort of violence, and corn cults started to grow. And so after corn cults started to grow, and then we had the demonic incursion led by Angon, and finally the World Eaters, the Space Wolves got involved, and the Grey Knights, and then we got the Grey Knights, Space Wolves, Silent War. And while that ended up being violent, which I'm not happy about, because originally it wasn't violent, it was actually, you leave us alone, we'll leave you alone, and there was this hatred between the two, but we never really got to see a lot of the background of how it would have affected people. Because one of the biggest arguments back in the old lore that the Space Wolves weren't going to fight was actually the civilian cost. It would have been the kills and deaths of innocent civilians. That was the main reason Ulrich the Slayer literally told Logan Grimnar to stand down, because of the amount of people. And that sort of discussion could have been really fleshed out. It kind of is in the Emperor's Gift, but still it all ended up bolt porn, fighting, shooting, etc., etc., rather than having, you know, them sort of, like even the Inquisition side, the Grey Knight side, talking about the cost of it. Is the cost of all those innocent civilians and the war with the Space Wolves worth the cost against, you know, the threat of chaos? Yes, an Inquisitor or a Grey Knight Master would say definitely so, but of course it also means, what about the innocent deaths too? Are they worth it? And it would be interesting, and let alone the cost of repopulating Armageddon, you know, getting it all back up and running, cleansing it, and everything else, are such interesting subjects to me, and how they would have done it, and how much it would have cost the Imperium to, you know, say that Armageddon was actually worth saving and keeping alive. Same with Vrax. Vrax is not a dead planet, it's pretty much a live planet still. But it's useless to the Imperium for anything more than a training ground for the Grey Knights now, because of its massive chaos taint. And again, what sort of discussions went ahead that said, yeah, we want to keep Vrax alive, we don't want to destroy it. Destroying it would have been the best bet. It would have ended the war quickly, it would have just stopped the spread of chaos, and it would have definitely killed the priest in charge. But obviously the discussion was made, and it was decided to keep it alive. Even now, it has a massive military blockade. No civilian can go there without specific warrants. I think it's one of the few planets, even the Inquisition actually have to ask to go there, and can be refused, and often are, just because of a taint of chaos on the planet. And again, this can lead to a lot of good stories about how Inquisitors are getting there, and who do they have to wrangle and talk to, and, you know, the reason, excuses, lies, etc., who they have to talk to get to go to this planet, which is, well, still a live planet, is no longer used for its original use as a manufacturing planet, making weapons and guns. And ammunition is what I should have said. But no, we don't see that, and I always think it's a big part of the lore that's missing, and something I really enjoy reading about. And that's about it. Like, this is just my usual video about something about this lore, which I think could be added on to and made better, in my opinion, as, you know, just something. These aren't like, I hate it so much, but no, it's just something I wish to see more of. I do like to see the politicking and the more civilian stuff, which we see in other books and other franchises. Like, this is how we know so much about the Star Wars and Star Trek franchises, because we see the civilian talks, we see them, you know, integrating, and we see how it works day to day, and the stories that civilians tell and the non-main heroes tell as well. We don't, unlike 40k, it's always about the main factions. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you all again in the next one. Yeah, thank you very much. Links down below for Wayland Games, as always, 20% off, as up to 20% off, and free delivery after £20 for, you know, if you want to save money on Warhammer or try a different game. There's many out there. There is also Forbidden Planet, if you like comics, DVDs, manga, toys, plushies, all that cool stuff. My merchandise, stickers, comics, t-shirts. Forge, Skyforge, he's a good friend of mine, give him a look up. I don't get any money from that one, by the way. He is a good friend of mine, and I do want to help him out as much as I can. And finally, there is, oh, my comic as well, if you want to read about Little Red Riding Hood going ham on a bunch of cyborg werewolves. Bye bye.